Independence in a meet, also due to downed power lines. So really advised to not be driving around right now and checking out damage if you can stay at home.
Yeah, and this is moving pretty fast, so you'll get a chance, I think, to get out later if you need to. But really, the beginning of this line is where some of the most active wind gusts and tornado potential are. And then, of course, we still have rain out to other spots around Baton Rouge, out to the northwest. We are seeing that we've had, let's see, a gust of 55 miles per hour over Lake Pontchartrain recorded. As Devin said, we've been seeing here and there some pictures of trees down in different spots, just sort of all over different parts of north of the lake parishes like Tangipahoa, Washington, and St. Tammany. And we've also, of course, seen the heavy rain, and we're seeing that right now in New Orleans. Let me move back to my radar scene here so I can update this for you and get you a little closer. If you're in the city, maybe you are hearing some of these warnings happening earlier, and you may be getting in on the rain and thunder and lightning now, but really this is not as strong as what we were seeing when we had those tornado warnings to the north of Lake Pontchartrain. And also actually our still ongoing tornado warning, which is the reason that I'm still on right now with you. This is it, Picayune into Hancock County, Mississippi. So this is the spot that we're still tracking for you tonight. We have the heavy rain, potential for high wind gusts. If you're in especially this eastern part of Hancock County and in the eastern part of this warning, that's a good reminder. Just may not be here yet. The rain has not arrived for you yet, but it would be a good idea to get to your safe place. Maybe you've thought about that interior room in the inside of your house or dwelling away from doors and windows.
Checking in again on power outages, Alexandra. I'm not seeing anything currently in Orleans with a large amount of customers, or Jefferson Parish with a large amount of customers affected. However, I did just check the CLECO map, and it does look like we've got several hundred customers in St. Tammany Parish without power now. So to add to that, that's now our third parish, I believe, where we're hearing about outages, and we just keep hearing them as this storm moves east, where, you know, the outages are kind of catching up with the storm.
Yeah, and those would likely, of course, be from those high wind gusts. Sometimes we have that distinction between the straight line winds and the tornado, but if it is knocking out your power, if it's bringing all those kind of indicators, knocking down trees and things like that, it can easily be very high wind gusts that, you know, rival tornado wind speeds, but just not in that particular formation, but still can see a lot of damage, of course, we know, with straight line winds. And it's interesting, these storms can tap into that air, drier air farther up in the atmosphere, and just shoot it out with these downdrafts and create these very strong wind gusts, which it sounds like is responsible for what we've been seeing with those power outages north of Lake Pontchartrain.
Alexandra, for anybody who may be watching us maybe along the Mississippi Gulf Coast, what should they be expecting as the storm continues to move east?
Well, the high wind gust potential is going to be there. So focusing over on those of you who are joining us from around Bay St. Louis, Diamond Head, if you're in Pass Christian, Waveland, on toward Gulfport and Biloxi, this line is still pretty strong. Still a big severe warning all the way to Gulfport. So if you're in this area, you can expect some high wind gusts. Unfortunately, power outages are not, you know, out of the question for wherever this line of storms continues north of Lake Pontchartrain and into Mississippi. So that will be a possibility. Also, you're going to get some heavy rain, some lightning, but the big thing with this line of storms has really been the wind, and then of course also the potential for a couple of spin-ups of these, you know, rotating segments, these possible tornadoes. Although we have not heard of confirmation yet, but we have had several warnings, 5 or 6, I think, at this point, wrapping up with this one right now in Hancock County. And as we look at our line over in New Orleans, where the heavy rain is, you might say, yeah, it's a thunderstorm. We get these a lot. It's true. You know, for some spots, this is not as, you know, active as some other times. Okay, this is from our tower camera, I believe. And okay, yes, and we are looking
pretty gross out there.
Yeah, it does look bad. You know, we get these storms, we get strong storms, so I can understand, you know, if Some people may think it's just kind of a regular thunderstorm. It might be that for your area, but there have been high wind gusts, lots of power outages north of the lake, and we're seeing a spot of really heavy rain developing now over Lake Salvador near Jean Lafitte. So some of the West Bank and much of New Orleans now getting in on heavy rain. So yeah, tracking these strong storms as they moved in and really did not let up as they crossed our area. Looking at velocity, by the way, let's check out that area in Hancock County once again. And it's getting a little bit more difficult to see, but you can see some spots at least where there is some rotation. And actually, did I just see, it looks like this tornado warning possibly just come to an end. Let me put back on a radar. And yes, let me just confirm really quickly with the National Weather Service that they have, it looks like ended it. Still an active severe thunderstorm warning. There have been several marine warnings, of course. We really haven't even touched on those because we've been dealing with populated places. But yes, the tornado warning for northern Hancock and southeastern Pearl River counties is canceled. They have issued a special weather statement for New Orleans now, gusts up to 50 miles per hour, some brief heavy rain and lots of lightning. Obviously, we can hear it in the French Quarter. It's happening as we speak. But yes, the tornado warning for those of you in Hancock County, that has ended and been canceled. Still a severe thunderstorm warning into Harrison County in Mississippi, and obviously some heavy rain and some somewhat gusty winds up to 50 miles per hour south of the lake. We'll let you go for now as the tornado warning has ended.
All right, Alexandra, thank you. And we do have a crew headed to a meet right now. Again, several power outages across the area, and we will bring you the latest from those areas as we can. Insurance reform is a top priority for many people in our state. Lawmakers passed a law to try to increase competition among insurance companies by getting rid of the state's so-called 3-year rule. Under current law, an insurer cannot cancel a policy if the customer has been insured for 3 years or more. Previous Insurance Commissioner Jim Donellan said the 3-year rule was one of the state's strongest forms of consumer protection.